Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Azure On Demand webinar. My name is Martin Smith and I look after all good things Microsoft Azure at Westcoast. I've been working with Azure for years and years now, back when it was called Windows Azure. I've covered it from all different types of licensing as well. But today we're going to be focusing on two types of licensing and a general overview of Azure. This isn't going to be an in-depth technical discussion, so I wouldn't worry about that, but it is going to give you a good starting point when it comes to Azure. Now, just so you know, there are four types of licensing altogether. There is pay-as-you-go licensing, enterprise agreements, open licensing, and CSP licensing. Now, within the channel, we only actually need to know or want to know about open licensing and CSP licensing. The pay-as-you-go side and the enterprise agreement side is done directly with Microsoft, so we don't actually make much money out of it. So, in fact, we don't make any money out of it. And so open licensing and CSP is what we want to focus on. There are 4 data centers closest to us. Now, I'm not here to give you a geography lesson, but this is how the data centers are structured within Azure and their regions. So you have Ireland, which is classified within Azure as Northern Europe. Okay? And then you have the Netherlands, which within Azure again is classified as Western Europe. I know. Okay? But that's how it's done. And then you have the 2 new UK data centers which were announced in September, October time, which is in the UK South in London and UK West, which is in Wales. So we can pretty much cover a large area or any needs that people have coming up. Especially when it comes to education and things like that, it can tend to help having a UK data center. So the topics I'm going to be covering is what is Microsoft Azure in nice, simple detail. I'm not going to confuse you because there are already lots and lots of statements, websites, and things like that to confuse you about what Azure is. Normally people tell you what it does rather than what it is. But I'm going to hopefully explain it in nice simple detail. Selling it? Now, you know how to sell things, but Azure is a bit of a different area because there are still people out there who won't adopt to the cloud, or they're still scared of it, or they think the United States are spying on them. It's all sorts. So hopefully I can help alleviate some of that. The ordering redemption side. As I said, we're going to look at open licensing and CSP. So the ordering redemption side on those, how you get it going. That's the actually easy part. And then you got how to make money. I mean, loads of money from Microsoft Azure. And some people at the moment are thinking, well, there's not much difference between hardware and cloud in general when you look at it like for like. And that's true, but you're not comparing it that way. That's not how cloud should be judged. But here we go. I'm going to start off with what is Microsoft Azure. Now, again, there are lots and lots of different websites, lots of different things out there that use terminology which is just not of this world, and it does annoy me sometimes because even Microsoft sometimes do it as well. Going over it from the basic side, this is just some of the examples of some of the things that I've seen on websites and what people have actually put up as their front-face explanation of what Azure is. Not only are they confusing, some of them just aren't true. I particularly like the bottom one. Allows you to host your software in the cloud. Okay, well, no. Okay, so that's not what Azure is. Okay? Office 365 may allow you to do that, but that's not what Azure is. You get what I mean. This is kind of one of those terminology changes quite a lot when it comes to the cloud anyway. But hopefully I can help. This is the official statement of what Azure is from Microsoft. An open and flexible cloud platform that enables you to quickly build, deploy, and manage solutions across a global network of Microsoft managed data centers. Now that doesn't actually tell you what Azure is. It doesn't even really say what it does in detail. Build and deploy. Okay, we'll manage solutions. What solutions? Quickly enable. Well, how quickly? Data centers. Which data centers? Yeah, you get what I mean. Other things that they put on the sites like 99.95% SLAs, integrate public cloud, that sort of thing. I get it. However, I think there is a much better way of actually describing what Azure is. So, overall, Microsoft Azure is a service. It's not a product. And that's the same with cloud in general. It's not something you touch, feel, or hold. It's a service. And more importantly, when it relates to Azure specifically, it is a web-based portal. And through that portal is where you buy all of your wonderful virtual machines and utilize the backups and storage vaults and VPN connections, etc. That's essentially what Azure is. It's a web-based portal. It's no different from something like eBay, where that's a web-based portal, where you actually have a credit card or something assigned to it, or you pop in the amount of money and then you use the services or buy things. There's no difference. So that's this kind of statement that should be taken away. This open and flexible cloud platform stuff is okay for well, actually no, it's not okay for any situation. So it's a web-based portal. Let's keep it simple. This is what Azure looks like. This is the open licensing portal. It's gradually being moved over to the new style portal, and will be fully at some point. And the same with the pay-as-you-go portal. Now, what's great about this particular portal is the fact that you have all your products and services on the left-hand side. You have what you've spun up in the middle, and it's just simple. It's just really simple. The new portal is even better, in my opinion. This is what all portals will look like if they aren't already. Okay? This is what's called the ARM portal, the Azure Resource Manager portal. Now, you can see quite a lot of differences. You have all the data centers around the world in the middle there to see their health. You have the marketplace that's been added in, which is a brilliant plus, where you can add in third-party services a lot more easier. And on the left-hand side, you have all the products and services, again, that you can spin up. It's really that simple. I recommend getting a trial of it. And there's a 30-day free trial you can get of Azure on the website, or if you use the Microsoft Azure calculator, it's up in the top right corner. It says free account. Now, I'll stress this: if you do use the trial version of Azure, the 30-day free trial, then please use it as a test and dev platform. Once you are done with it, get rid of it. Okay? And then, because the reason why I'm saying that is because to move over to open licensing or even CSP licensing, you cannot do that from the trial. On open licensing, you can, but it's a long-winded process. On CSP, you can definitely not, at this point in time, move over. So just keep that in mind. Open licensing, here we go. The licensing side. Don't worry, I'll make this easy. So, open licensing, when everyone thinks of open licensing in general, some people think of Office 365, EM&S, and there's lots of 12 months on the SKUs. With Azure, it's a bit different. With Azure, you purchase, this is only in open licensing now. Okay? In open licensing, what you do is you purchase Azure credits. Okay? You purchase them through Westcoast. It's like a credit as if you were topping up a mobile phone a long time ago. Okay? Now, these credits that you actually purchase, once you buy them and download them from the Volume Licensing Service Center, or the VLSC, they have a life cycle of 5 years. Okay? Once you download them. Now, when you activate them, so download and activate, download 5 years, activate, and that means quite literally copying and pasting them into the Azure portal, they have a 12-month life cycle. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to spread them out across 12 months. You can use them up in a day, a month, a week. You can use them up as quickly as you like, and then just buy more. It's just that 12-month life cycle is just important to note. It's happened before where people have 12 credits for 12 months and they ended up using 11 credits, and because they used something different in Azure, which did it at a different consumption rate. So I'll go into a bit more of that. Don't worry about how that all works out and how many credits you need, etc. in a bit. But yes, 12-month life cycle once you activate them in the Azure portal. For the Office 365 veterans out there, this is a comparison between Open on Azure and Open on 365. But luckily, there's only one SKU for Azure. With 365, there are multiple SKUs because there are so many different plans and different ways of purchasing. And with Azure, it is one SKU. That SKU is 5S2-00003. One SKU. Very nice. And that will go through to, that's an SMB SKU. CSP licensing. Now, a lot of people confuse CSP licensing as this massive management way of licensing. And in a way it is, but it's also quite simple. Okay? If we step back and actually look at what CSP is, it's a way of billing monthly for Azure services. You can do this for 365, you can do it through EMS, anything you like on Microsoft products, but we're focusing on Azure today. So basically, you will get billed at the end of the month for Azure services. Basically, you have the Azure portal, you go up in that portal, we can provision the portal for you, I'll go into that in the ordering redemption side. We will give you the Azure portal, you and your customer, or just you, can go into that portal and spin up your virtual machines that you need, or your backup and your storage, utilize whatever you like, and at the end of the month, we will bill you for it. And CSP licensing works where, when it comes to margins and things like that, I will tell you a bit about it at the end. Well, a bit in the ordering redemption side, but that's how it works. Open licensing, you use open licensing credits. CSP licensing, you are billed monthly. They are two completely separate models. Do not mix them up. I still get emails today saying, how many credits do I need for this CSP license? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. So please keep them separate. Nice analogy for you. Why not? Let's just say you've got some older infrastructure. This is more of an open licensing analogy. You've got some older infrastructure that you have there, and you want to upgrade it to the latest and greatest, this new and wonderful Azure phone, and which is great. But again, think about it in open licensing. You have phones when you top them up. So don't think of it as anything different. You've got old infrastructure, you can upgrade to the latest and greatest. Fantastic. Now, to be able to do that, to access all these wonderful new features and applications within that phone, you have to add at least one Azure credit. Okay, that's the minimum you need, is one Azure credit. You cannot buy a fraction of a credit. Okay? And once you've done that, you're no longer tied in. You can unlock everything that you need into the cloud. Perfect. So, in a scenario, it goes from your customer, say, I want to know a bit more about Azure, or I'm looking at Azure, or I'm thinking of it, or you even mention it to them, and they say, I want to know a bit more, and they're going to come straight to you. And what are you going to say? Of course you're going to say, sure. Of course you are. It's golden rule number one. Okay? And even if, after this on-demand webinar, and you say, okay, well, I know a bit more about Azure, I can talk you through this part, but I may need a bit more help, I'll tell you what, you can then, of course, come to me. And I am more than happy to help you. Okay? There's a certain criteria that I like to do when helping people with Azure, and when it comes to end customers, the process is the end customer comes to you, you then come to me, and then I can teach you everything you need to know about about Azure, and that way you can actually spread that across all of your customers. Makes sense. So, on to the next, ordering redemption side. The ordering and redemption. Now, let's go with open licensing first, why not? So, let's just say we've had a conversation about how many Azure credits you need for a certain project. Okay, well, a certain project, so I've told you you need, I don't know, say 12 credits. And what you do is you would then send me a PO, or Westcoast a PO, your account manager, for those 12 credits under the SKU 5S2-00003. We then place that order through your Westcoast account. Then what happens is, within 24 hours, you'll receive an email from Microsoft saying, congratulations, come onto the Volume Licensing Service Center and sign the open licensing agreement. It's nice and easy. Basically, from there, what happens is, once you've done that, you download, and you get full access to the VLSC, and then you download the credits. It's that simple. Okay? It goes from placing the order, within 24 hours, you've got the email, you've got the credits, and now that's the ordering done. Simple. Redemption side. So, the verification process. Microsoft will say, follow the link to this, when you download the credits, it will say, follow the link to the Azure portal. You'll do that. And I go through the verification process of, are you sure you are who you say you are? And then it will give you full access once you've confirmed it. And then it's a case of having full management to the portal. To activate the keys, by the way, all you do is, what you get in the email is a 5x5 key, and you quite literally copy and paste that into the side that says redeem credits within the portal. It's that easy. The management side, You can then set up things like balance alerts, which is a very common thing when people say if they've got 12 credits, how do I get alerted if it gets down to, say, 3 or 4? You can set up your own balance alerts. There's a standard balance alert at 20% of the total amount. However, that can be adjusted to whatever you like. And you can have that alert send out to yourselves via email, multiple people. You can do whatever you like with it. You can also set up things like co-administrators, which is good. If you want full management of the portal for your customer, but you want to allow one of them delegated access to some areas, fine, you can do that. Just so they don't have full control of it, and that's fine. They won't see anything to do with pricing. They won't see anything to do with how much you charge them. It will just have the number of credits left. This is in open licensing, remember. And then when it comes around to the 12-month period, or even the 6-month period, or the 3-month period, it depends on how often you want to buy these credits. You just do the exact same process. And that is the model. Here's from you guys to us, order placed on the VLSC, download them, apply them. Nice and simple. CSP. The CSP licensing side, again, believe it or not, is even easier. All you need to do is fill in this form. That's it. Fill in the form, and then we will do the rest. Now, that's one way of doing it. Fill in the form that we can send you. All you got to do is just ask for it, and we will send it. And pop in, obviously, the names, end user names, the .on Microsoft domain name that you would like, and the SKU for CSP is quite literally Azure-CSP. That's it. And then you just pop in the estimated spend. To be honest with you, the estimated spend, because it's a CSP model, and it's the benefit of being on CSP is you can scale up and scale down as often as you like. You can do it in open licensing, but you can do it a bit more flexibly in CSP because you don't have to purchase any more credits. But in CSP, it's quite literally, oh, okay, I want a bit more storage. Okay, I will go in and do some more storage. I want a larger VM. I'll go and do a larger VM. And then just pop in the estimated spend of what you think it would be. We'll have a conversation about that beforehand anyway. Now, the other side of doing it is we have the marketplace. We have the Westcoast marketplace where you can actually do this yourselves. You don't actually have to come to us and ask for this form. You can actually go onto our marketplace and just put in the same details, and then you can have the portal provisioned for you automatically. You do it. So that's another option. And that's open, and that's CSP. So again, open licensing credits, CSP order form. Making money. Making lovely money from Microsoft Azure. Now, I mentioned it earlier about some people said to me before that the cloud isn't actually cheaper than on-premise. Now, when you look at something like that, if you look at a virtual machine and an on-premise server, you will find that they are pretty much either like for like on price, or if not, then the cloud is a bit more expensive. Okay? That's just the way of the world. Now, are you actually comparing the two? Now, when you look at an on-premise server, you may be thinking, well, yeah, that's the same as the virtual machine. No, it's not. Now, managing on-premise infrastructure is very costly in terms of overhead costs. The person you may be speaking to actually at the company might not know the overhead costs of running that server. Yes, it's a server. You look at it. But what about the power that goes through it? The electricity, the heating, the cooling, the hosting, the building itself that it's held in. A lot of these costs is where you are saving money. And that should be golden rule number one when it comes to the cloud. Apart from what's your cloud strategy, the next section should be what are your overhead costs for your on-premise infrastructure. Because the overheads will cost more than the hardware 9 times out of 10. So bear it in mind. Now, within Azure, there are 3 main products that have been flying off the shelves, so to speak. Backup. Data backup into the cloud. It's the most simplest and easiest thing to do. It quite literally is what's called a backup vault. It's setting up a backup vault, assigning data, and backing up. Nice and easy. Now, this is great for actually what's called tiptoeing into the cloud. It's a good way to get people on board and say, okay, we'll back up some non-essential business critical data, pop it in Azure, have a play around with the control panel, the Azure portal, see how it works. They like it? Why not chuck some more in there? Why not spin up a virtual machine? Why not add a bit more storage? It's all these things. Backup is the cheapest and easiest thing to do within Azure. And also, you can tie in any third-party services you have as well. So one of the benefits of Azure in general is the fact that you can tie in other services. As a good example, you have people like Skykick or Veeam Barracuda for your firewalls, etc. Now you can tie these in. If you partner with these people, you can tie it into a you have within Azure, like backup, and then throw it out to your customers. See what happens. You please lots of different people at once. Secondly, virtual machines. Now, virtual machines, there are various different versions of virtual machines within Azure. You have different series and things like that. I'll go into a bit more detail on that. But when it comes to things like SQL, for instance, yes, you can spin up a SQL server. Yes, you can have a SQL database. In virtual machines, your Windows 2008, R2, 12, 16 even. Now, what's great about Azure, one of the things, many things that are spot on with Azure, you don't have to pay for licensing anymore. You don't have to work out all these per user, per month Windows licensing, SQL licensing. You don't have to do any of that. It's all included within the price of Azure. I know, amazing, right? So, the only license you may have to take into consideration is RDS licensing, so remote desktop sessions. That's the only one that's not included within Azure, if it's needed. And you can get that direct with in open licensing, or you can do that through a SPLA agreement. It's up to you. But yes, that's one of the benefits of virtual machines. And then you've got hosting websites. The reason why this is so popular is because it's free. I didn't realize this until way after I started on Azure, and I realized that you can actually spin up 5 free websites. Now, they're not obviously in-depth, detailed Ferrari-style websites. They're very basic, but it's still a great model to build on, and it's free. So that was why that is quite popular at the moment. Let's look at margins and money. So, open licensing. Let's go with that. Each Azure credit has a value currently of £61.09. That is the value we're selling a customer. If that SKU 5S2-00003, you can sell that, well, you can sell it for whatever price you like. The value of that credit is £61.09. What we sell them to you at, you make around about a 15% margin on. And you can add as many services, as many additional companies that you partner with, you can add them onto anything you like to increase your margin. But that is the margin of those, of open licensing, at 15%. In CSP, it's a bit different. It's minus 8% of the RRP. Okay? So 6109 for Azure credits, minus 8% of RRP on CSP. Now you may be thinking in your head, well, why wouldn't I just go for open licensing then? That's a good question. Well, in CSP, what you get as opposed to open licensing, well, one of the main things is the support mechanism. Within open licensing, you have to go direct with Microsoft to get support. Now that's up to you if you want to do that. That's fine. It's at a cost, obviously, but that's direct with them. In CSP licensing, we can provide you with what's called Tier 2 level support, which is one of the highest in Microsoft, completely free of charge. Which means that if you have an issue when it comes to things like, I don't know, you want to know how to set up something, or can we remote desktop into your computer and help you with your virtual machines? Something breaks, God forbid. Okay? We can help you with that, completely free of charge. Now, there obviously is certain levels of chargeability when it comes to things like, say, I don't know, utilizing one of our architects, bringing them on site and building something for you. Obviously, that comes at a cost. And now at the level that you need Azure for, when it comes to the support, so the kind of pre-sale side, completely free of charge. So that's the benefit, one of the main benefits of CSP over Azure in open licensing. And yes, it really is a case of management versus margin. If you're able to be billed monthly on CSP, so therefore you get billed at the end of the month, you don't have to worry about Azure credits, but then you make more margin on Azure credits. Within CSP, you also have a greater level of management over how you scale up and scale down within the Azure portal. In CSP, you can do that willingly, whenever you like. In open licensing, you may have to purchase more credits to do that. Okay? But again, there's more margin over here in open licensing. So again, management versus margin. Margin versus management even. The Azure calculator, everyone's favorite tool. Microsoft Azure Calculator has changed a lot from when I first saw it, and it's going to change again quite soon, I would imagine. So, what you have is a list of all the products and services within Azure. Pretty much all of them. All you got to do is type in Microsoft Azure Calculator online, and you will see it on there. And you have a list of all the products. You have things like your compute, your data and networking, things like that. So in networking, you have your VPN connections. In compute, you have your VMs, etc. Now, I'm going to give you an example of a virtual machine here. And I'm also going to teach you how to work out an Azure credit. Amazing. So let's take open licensing. Let's say open licensing is the way you want to go. You know you want to go down that way. Fine. And you want to use this virtual machine within Azure. Obviously, you have to purchase Azure credits for that. How many do you need? That's a good question. You don't know. So I'm going to teach you how to work them out. And that way you can come to me and say, Martin, I need exactly this many credits. Yeah? So, as an example, on this screen that I've put up, I've put up three areas. So you have the region, the type, and the pricing tier. The region I put in Northern Europe. And as you remember, that's Ireland. And I put it in Ireland because it's actually cheaper to host things outside of the UK than it is inside the UK. And I have no restrictions on where my data is held. That's fine. Okay? Northern Europe is fine for me. And the type I put as Windows. I could have changed it to SQL, could have changed it to Oracle, but I've kept it at Windows. And that means I can run up any instance I want, 2008, 2012, whatever I like. And I kept the pricing tier at standard. There are two tiers, basic and standard. The basic tier does not include things like autoscaling and load balancing, whereas the standard tier does autoscale and load balance, and that's what I want. It's kind of one of the points of cloud, really, in a virtual machine. So I'll keep it at standard. And I've chosen a D series. A D series, there are different versions, basically, A series and D series. An A series, it has hard disk drives built into them, whereas a D series has solid state drives built into them. Yeah? Little differences. Now the D series is incredibly fast. That's the differences. SSDs compared to HDDs, SSDs are far superior in terms of speed. And that's what I want. I want that D1, 1 core, 3.5 gig, and 50 gig of internal storage. Now be careful with that, because that 50 gig of internal storage is what's called volatile storage. If you require more, then you would need to add on more storage. But that's another conversation. I don't want to go too technical. So, and I want this machine running 24 hours a day. That's also a very, very important thing. That 744 hours is every hour for the month. If you were to lower that, you'll see the price lower, naturally. So, this is how you work out Azure credits. This virtual machine will cost me, if I went direct to Microsoft as a customer, would cost me £58.63 per month. Yeah? Okay, fair enough. Now, I want to work out how many credits I need for this particular virtual machine. So, here is the calculation. You got £58.63. What you do is you times that by however many months you want to bill them for. I've put 12 up here as an example, but it could be any. So we come out with £703.56. Then what you do is you divide that number by the £61.09. And then voila, I come out with 11.5 Azure credits. It really is that simple. Okay? This has baffled a lot of people for a long time. It really is that simple. Calculate a price, times by the months, divide by 6109. That's it. That's how you work out an Azure credit. Now maybe you may be in your head saying to me, well, yes, I get it, but you said earlier that you can't buy a fraction of a credit. Very, very astute. So, this is what you do. This is what my recommendation is. If you come out at a fraction of a credit price, like 11.5, if you are going to bill them yearly, for this, 12 months, I would round down to 11 Azure credits. And if you were going to bill them monthly, I would round up to 12. Well, I would round up, even. So the reason for that is because if you get to the 11th month, having billed them over 12 months, and you find out you're running low, you can always add more. You can always add one more or two more. It's up to you. But you don't want those credits to hit that 12-month mark, because they don't roll over, they disappear. And if you're billing them monthly, they can roll over, because they can roll over up to 12 months. So that's my recommendation. Take it or leave it, but that's the way I would prefer. CSP licensing. Wow, I've said how easy it is. I put exactly the same configuration, D series, 1 core, 3.5, 50 gig, £58.63. How much is that going to cost me to CSP as opposed to Azure credits? Well, calculate a price and minus 8%. That's all you do. That's the calculation. Nice and easy. So we would bill you £53.93 ex-VAT. And then you can bill your customer whatever you like, because you can add on any type of margin you can or like. And you can even do things like rebrand our own support services and add them as your own and claim, and sell them out as that. That's fine with us. We don't mind that. So you can actually add on as much margin as you like. I have built my own Azure calculator. Now, this will need to be updated soon, probably. Azure changes so often that I try and keep it up to date as much as I can. Okay, so what's great about this is it's on one Excel sheet, and I've only related this to virtual machines at the moment. Basically, it's got the A series, the D series. It's very simple and easy, and all you do is just type into the green box in the middle there. It says number of VMs, how many you want, and it will come up on the right hand side with exactly how much that will be in Open and how much that would be in CSP. Something that calculator online does not do. Okay? So this is completely, you can, by all means, I can send this to you, if or you can request it. It's completely up to you. Westcoast. I mentioned it earlier, RDS licenses. You can get your RDS licenses through Westcoast, not a problem. Okay? And you can do it through SPLA or direct, it's up to you. Okay? We will be able to help you with that. You also have our Westcoast Cloud when it comes to hosting Exchange Link and SharePoint, should people want to within the UK. And you have Microsoft Cloud. That's what I look after. So basically, no matter what scenario you have, we can help you with it. And when it comes to things like working with us, when you look at all the things that we actually can offer, things like webinars, whether monthly, quarterly, training, more than happy to come and do more one-to-one webinars and come on site and help everyone. And so indeed, so is the whole of Westcoast. We have quarterly cloud events that we do at Thames Valley Park, and we also have a solutions lab up in Milton Keynes, and there we can actually do hand-on demos and things like that for Azure, for EMS, for 365, anything. Okay? We also have incentives that we put in place for resellers as well. Keep an eye out for those. A lot of people don't know this, but you have, amazingly people don't know this, but you have what's called internal usage rights within Microsoft, within your company. Whatever partner status you have with Microsoft, you have internal usage rights. Now, these include things like Azure credits, 365 licensing, all sorts. And you'd be amazed at the amount of people who don't know they get them. And so the best thing you can do to actually demo something to your customer for Azure is using your internal usage rights. And Microsoft will send you them on a monthly basis, and just try and find who that is within the company that gets them. And then grab yourself an Azure portal yourself. Start spinning up some virtual machines or backing up some data. Anything you like. The best way to actually teach. You have the Westcoast Enablement Zone. This is where all training goes. Training, events, things like that. Rebrandable white papers, that sort of thing. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's been live now for quite a while, and it's only developed as it's gone along. So I highly recommend you check it out and see what we've got coming up. Which is the award-winning marketing sheet for Microsoft products. Now this is a kind of one-stop shop, if you will. MS Mix. Now, all we have at Westcoast, we hire specialists to deal with certain areas. Yeah? We also have teams that help with that. Okay? Now, the best thing that's happened here, that they've given us a chance to actually voice our opinions across about Azure, about Windows Server, EMS, etc., 365, and our true opinions of them, which are no less what I've told you today already. However, they can be said in different ways and done in different techniques, and so it's all on there for you to actually have a look at. So even interviews with us in there as well. And there's some useful contacts for you. So we have the Westcoast Cloud team. If you need to know anything on the CSP side, then our Westcoast Cloud team will be able to help you for any of the products. That's Azure, Office 365, anything. You have our wonderful and amazing marketing team who help develop this webinar and host events with us. Here's my details for anything Azure related. You have Georgina Block, who is our sales manager for CSP. You have Imran Malik, who looks after Sply and Citrix. You may be aware that the remote app part of Microsoft has now been discontinued and being replaced by Citrix, and Imran's the man who looks after that. And then you have Tom Davies, who looks after the Office 365 side. And lastly, you have our wonderful and amazing software licensing team. Now, these people are fantastic when it comes to licensing. It takes quite a long time to know a piece of Microsoft licensing inside and out, and these guys have got every license nailed down. So I highly recommend getting in touch with them if you have any questions on the other side of things. But thank you very much for coming on to the webinar. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope it was useful. If you need anything, just give me a shout, send me an email, give me a call, or even the cloud team, and we can go through things in a bit more detail. But thank you very much again for coming on, and hopefully I will speak to you soon.